It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
Well, here we sit, gentlemen.
Baseball.
With 9 games to go, if my math is right. And what we sort of feared, Twins fans who were still on the bandwagon, been looking in the rearview mirror for weeks and weeks as the Twins have tumbled. And the Tigers have finally pulled up at the stoplight next to the Twins with 1 week to go in the season, a week and change. The Tigers are over there. You got the tiebreaker, but you're tied in the standings.
The gas.
Knowing that they have, what do they call it? They call it NOS, right? Where you flip the NOS. Because they got the White Sox the last 3 games of the year. So they've got that shot of NOS at the end of the street race. Yeah. So, I mean, we've beat the Twins up all week on this show and on other shows, probably for the last couple weeks. We'll see what happens this weekend against the Red Sox. We'll see what happens with the Tigers. The Mariners are only a couple games back. So instead of just belaboring another close extra innings loss yesterday, whatever, let's do a couple things. Let's read a Feedback Friday question, and then let's look forward and sort of play Twins advisor. Let's look for solutions the second part of this episode here. But let's start with Robbie B., who sends in a Feedback Friday question to the SKOR North Twins Show. By the way, Judd Zulgad, the sports dad, longtime Twins observer, former beat writer Phil Mackey, current beat podcaster Declan Goff. That's who we are on the show. But Robbie B. says, where does this Twins season rank on the list of most damaging to fan equity and morale in the history of Minnesota sports? It's hard to quantify that exactly, but
very hard.
Well, it's high. It's very high because of the excitement. Like, so this question is pretty broad, right? Because I would say that the years 1995 through 99, if not 2000, were epically damaging, but nobody even cared by then, right? Like this was you're coming off a playoff win, you've broken that epic streak, right? Like fans are excited, they are engaged. I mean, you had, because of the fact that there were a lot of tickets available to the first round series against Toronto, you had a lot of, people checking out the Twins, young people who were super excited. And you sort of just crapped on that entire momentum swing. I think this is one of the most damaging, coming off a season where you created expectations and sort of paid it off. So I think it's top 5 for sure because of that. But I mean, if we're going to go through, there were a lot of times when people didn't care. And so it was damaging. But this feels to me, because it feels like a fumble. It's a fumble. A lot of unforced errors with dumb decisions.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the 2011 Twins losing 99 games after being in their second year and winning the division, like that caused tumble. But like people still showed up to the ballparks. It was brand new. Like people were going there for the baseball being second because it was this glorious ballpark. And maybe this is a precursor, but I kind of look at this one in a, not the same vein, but a little bit of a Venn diagram of the second season with Jimmy Butler and the Wolves. So that first season, Butler's here, he gets hurt, and they get a little early exit. But hey, even though there was some contention there, this feels like we're building something. And instead, Jimmy burns the entire damn thing down with Tibbs lighting the match. And it's like, well, that killed all, though it was going to be a fun run for the Wolves. They have to regroup a little bit. They draft Anthony Edwards. They go to the playoffs 3 years in a row. They go to the Western Conference Finals last year. Like maybe there's a similar blueprint there. I'm not hoping and suggesting that Carlos Correa requests out immediately this fall or something, which could be a fun topic for us this offseason or if not today. But I look at those seasons as maybe the more disappointing ones that kind of line up with this one.
Yeah, if it finishes this way and the Tigers revving their engine next to us at the stoplight here, if they win the street race, it'll be easier to sort of survey the damage. I don't think it compares to 2011 into 2012 into 2013. Like, so there was like a 2 or 3 year stretch, and there was a bunch of different factors for this, but the Twins burst into Target Field. And from an attendance and payroll standpoint, everything was great, right? They went from kind of bottom feeding attendance at the Metrodome. You know, when they were winning divisions, they were getting over 2 million fans in the Metrodome, and that was great. But they all of a sudden, first 2 years at Target Field, 3.2 million attendance, right? Season tickets, almost 40,000 fans a game. They were selling out everything the first couple years. And then the 2011 season, they came back to life for 2 months in the middle of the year and kept hope alive. And they absolutely tanked in August and September of the second year at Target Field. Bilateral leg weakness, all this stuff. They had a historic payroll that year, though. So people were kind of like, well, they tried. They spent a bunch of money. It was just injuries. And okay, well, that was a body blow. But let's see what happens the next year or two. Payroll goes down 2 years later to 63 million. Attendance, so they're losing 90 games. Payroll is half of what it was in 2011. There are strategic reasons why they scaled the payroll back and didn't go out and bother. Like, they knew they were going to be bad. They didn't bother signing a bunch of bad contracts. But attendance falls, 90 losses. Joe Mauer drops off after signing the big contract. Like, all these things converge in the early part of the Target Field era. And I think that still ranks above what's happening right now in terms of like fan apathy. But yeah, this is pretty high. So now my next question for you guys is looking ahead. This is the most important question of the show. If you were tabbed Judd's dream job, an advisor to one of our local sports teams.
I don't need to do this like as a job. I'll do it pro bono. And I've got the
Well, you
list.
do it pro bono every day for the teams anyway.
But I mean, they should just call me. I got the cell phone on. Just call me. I'll tell you what to do. Like, it's this simple.
So how would you handle if this thing ends missing the playoffs? And if you look at all the damage that's been done here since 12 months ago, how would you handle the next 6 to 12 months if you were telling the Twins exactly what to do on all levels to get this thing back right with the fans on the field, everything?
This is such a great question. Such a great question. And I got this question this morning as I was brewing my coffee. I sat down in the Zolgad breakfast nook and I took out a piece of paper and I basically have the platform. So Twins, if you are watching this, do not laugh. Take it seriously because I'm about to help you. Help me help you. Okay? Twins plan. That's what's written right there. Here's the plan. First
Nothing's
of all,
highlighted. I'm shocked that nothing's highlighted on it.
First of all, well, it's all important. First of all, I go in there and here's my message as we sit down. The future doesn't have to be that bleak. In fact, I don't think it is bleak. I don't think it's bleak on the field, partially because of this. In the preseason MLB.com prospect rankings, the Twins were 15th. In season, they are now second. Mm-hmm. They have a feeder. They've got guys coming up. They've got guys here. I mean, does Brooks Lee scuffle at times? Yes. Do I think he's not going to be a good player? No. Does Royce scuffle at times? Everybody slumps in the big leagues. Do I think that, oh my God, he's not going to be good? No. I actually like where this team is going from a prospect standpoint. And God knows you didn't trade them, so they're all still here. So you are second. And that's a great start, right? Mm-hmm. I would tell them a few things. Number one, and by the way, I'm assuming that this is if they miss the playoffs as well. So like I'm going in with you're going to miss.
Yeah, no, that's part of the premise of the question is if
So you miss the
playoffs. If it feels in 2 weeks like it does right now. Yeah.
Okay. Hate to say it, probably not fair. Maybe it is fair. The more I've thought about this, and by the way, this is going to differ from what I think the Twins will do, but if they listen to me, they should do. There needs to be a sacrificial head here. There needs to be somebody gone. And the easiest guy, and I think the logical guy in some ways, is Rocco. I don't like how he is approached, and I've talked about this, and I think Dex and I slightly disagree a little bit, but I don't like how he's approached things since the team started to melt down. He's right when he continues to say, well, every team slumps. We go through slumps. Hopefully we can come. Hopefully. You have gone out of character after a series in Kansas City, in which, by the way, you didn't have some of your best players, and basically said, you're unprofessional. Well, as far as I could tell, taking no responsibility for what had been a series of unprofessional decisions, questionable decisions by him. So my basic premise on Rocco being the guy to go is I think in some ways he has lost the players. And I don't think you can get that back. So, Rocco, I would say you've got to do something here. Now, I'm not done because I'm talking to Falvey. I want a manager who has more autonomy. I don't want to feel like you met at 2:00 and bullied the guy to make changes that in-game make 0 sense at times. Now, at 2:00, a lot of things that make sense in sports don't make sense at 8:10. So, Derek, your power is not cut down, but what is cut down is your ability to basically say, here's who has to pitch, here who doesn't have to pitch. Bailey can't pitch more than this. Like Griffin Jacks can't go 3 consecutive days when you're up against it. Come on, okay? So, 1, a manager that can actually manage. 2, a GM who still, look, he's built a farm. He's done some good things. Joe Polad, we're increasing payroll immediately by 10 to 15 million bucks. Not going to be back where it was, but you need to target some pitching. You need to have more arms. I actually think there's an argument to be made position-wise. This team's in fine shape. Pitching-wise, it could be eventually, but I want to target pitching, and we have to at least tell the public that we have increased the payroll. Doesn't need to be where it was, but it needs to be back to a place where fans aren't like, oh, you cut payroll again. And the last thing is this, and this is where, Joe, you're gonna have to swallow hard, man. But listen and listen closely. We are combining with Rob Manfred and MLB to go to a streaming platform. We're not going back to Bally's. They're a train wreck, and quite frankly, even though they're on Comcast, they aren't on a lot of people's devices to watch them. And if you buy Twins season tickets, you get the games, the Twins streaming package, for free for the season. It's my platform.
Wow. Yeah, I almost feel like we should all go through it. No, let's dissect that a little bit, and then and then Dex.
Yeah, let's dissect.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. Like I think there does have to be a separation between front office and they have to be symbiotic, front office and field staff.
Right.
But you've got to allow people to be humans and allow people to make judgments. And I don't think you can decide at 2:00 that Griffin Jacks can't pitch tonight. I don't think you can make that decision. And they did the other night. And whether that was maybe that was Rocco's decision, but I mean that felt like a hey, we've got some information that says third time. Okay, well, but once you get a feel for the game and you have a choice between Henriquez and Tonkin or Griffin Jacks at 75 or 80%, like that's the type of thing that's a microcosm for, come on. Do you really, right now, in your gut, do you feel like this gives you the best chance to win this game right now? Or no. But what I don't want is you kind of use, I think you said sacrificial. I don't want a symbol, like a symbolmatic or emblematic firing. I don't want someone to just like, I want actual meaningful strategy. And if there's if firing someone makes sense and makes the operation run better, awesome. If you're just going to fire Rocco because people are pissed and you're just going to replace Rocco with another cog in a machine or something, like I want to know, is he an actual problem?
He's lost.
Or are we just firing someone because it feels good and there's not a solution?
Well, one, I think from a PR standpoint, yes, it would please fans. But from my personal standpoint of my advisement of this team, I think he's lost the room. I think he's lost the room. And the meltdown in, was it 22? Concerning. There have been too many meltdowns, and now he's starting to morph personality changes. So I think it's a justified dismissal, but I also think when I say sacrificial head, I'm saying also fans are going to say, oh, good, they did something, but I'm actually looking for a something that means something internally.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's lost the room. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think number one, there's been some things he's done, the Stephen Okert decision, pulling Bailey, that he certainly has cost the team by his own decisions some games over this last month. No doubt. That's clear. The evidence is in your face. Do I think he has lost the respect of Carlos Correa or like even though he's a starting pitcher, but he's the leader of that team, like Pablo Lopez. Do I think he has lost the leaders of that? No, I don't think he's lost that. However, there is things that this organization goes about things from a human element that Trev has talked a lot of us about that they are lacking. I think they personally need, I'm not saying hire Trevor Plouffe, because also I don't think Trev would want this job, but you hire someone.
Trev's got a good life.
That, dude, Stephen Vogt in Cleveland is a former player. Yep. I mean, what, he was playing 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, but like recently, and has a feel for baseball things that go completely against analytics, by decisions, by pitching class A all the time, by burning your bullpen guys. He has a player feel, and the team loves that. I think they need either someone on that staff, or maybe to Judd's point, a new manager overall to help convey some of that messaging to make it easier. I don't know if Rocco has lost the room. I don't think, though, I would be labeled as shocked if they had fired Rocco because someone had to go as the sacrificial lamb. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I would. So I'm going to go through mine. Oh, no, Dex, is that yours, or do you have more to add?
Is that your... Well, in terms of the plan, I mean, that's a big one for me. And another one is just, I need ownership. I need someone to admit to us what the plan is for this team. And I'm a big believer in self-awareness. So, like, I kind of want Joe Pohlad to come out and say, we screwed up by cutting payroll. I want admission.
You've hit number one on my list.
Yeah, I want admission that you bleeped this up. I'm fine with people admitting, we do it a lot, and write that down, obviously, but at the same time, admitting you were wrong is a big thing. And compromising, too, it always looks at as a negative way. It should not be looked at in a complete negative way. I want admission that you screwed this up. That's what I also really, really want, on top of the player development thing.
Yeah. Dex nailed the number one thing on my list. I'm going to go through a few things. Some of them are similar to Judd's and Dex, and I don't have anyone specifically getting fired here, but within these, if it means, to do this, we got to make a change, I'm open to that. So, number one, have the Pohlad family issue a public apology for the last 12 months if they miss the playoffs. Because if you go back here, let's go back like to last season and even the beginning of last season. So go back like 18 months. And how did the good, great, because, dude, they didn't have, I know they had some winning seasons like the Bomba Squad, but 2021 and 2022, fans were not happy. The team was losing. The team was missing the playoffs. There was general apathy setting in, under 2 million attendance, So they go out. They bring back Carlos Correa. That fell into their laps after two medical staffs decided, we're a little nervous about that angle. However it happened, they signed Carlos Correa to the biggest contract in Twins history. Oh, interesting. Okay, people kind of peek their heads over the wall like, oh, the Twins. Okay, Correa.
Right.
Record payroll of like $154 million. Oh, look at the Twins. Oh, Correa, record payroll.
Yep.
Then they get hot in the second half of the season, take advantage of a bad division, but they get hot in the second half of the season, and they win their first playoff series in 20 years. So that was the stew for 2023. What went wrong? Systematically over the next several months, 5 minutes after they win their first playoff series, an article comes out about payroll. Be warned, the payroll's going to be cut. Okay, that's weird vibes to start. We're trying to get fans excited about 2024. And we're slashing the payroll by $30 million.
Right.
They knowingly took a TV deal that would expire with Comcast Xfinity on May 1st, knowing that fans were not going to have the biggest chunk of fans are not going to have access to those games. And they knew it.
They assumed it was going to get done, which was just as bad.
Same, yeah.
Like so, it's going to get done. No, it didn't get done.
Yeah.
You're right.
They did nothing at the trade deadline, despite being in prime playoff position and having a really good first half, and then the collapse in September. So, that is how you go from everybody's back on board and feeling great to boom, 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 shooting yourself in the foot basically 4 different times, right?
Yep.
So the first thing I would do, Declan nailed it. I would have the Pohlad family, if I'm advising the Twins, issue a public apology or acknowledgement for the last 12 months. Own it. Whether you agree or disagree, or maybe but God, our business, look at this. I don't
care.
Tell the fans we own this as a family.
Yep.
Come out strong and say we are sorry. We have championship aspirations, and we will start building back to that going into 2025.
That's what I was going to say. Are you also, does that come with we also are going to at least restore the payroll?
That is the second point on the Phil plan here, which is I increase spending this winter by, Judd said 10 to 15 million. I would come out, I would either announce that I am increasing payroll, or I would, I don't know, make a splash signing at the winter meetings or something. Like, it has to be a strategically sound signing. You can't just spend money to spend it. And I would be willing as a family to eat a short-term financial loss if it meant investing in the interest in fans. If you have to, listen, the Timberwolves, as I've been told, not the most well-run organization over the years, I was told the Timberwolves they are expecting to take a 9-figure loss on the franchise. Lack of a great arena, huge luxury tax payment, extensions for Anthony Edwards. Yep. But they know that long-term, it's the right thing to do. They can't just start stripping down. Like, let's go for this thing, right?
Right.
So build in short-term loss if needed for long-term gain and relationship with the fan base, right? And by the way, look at the Padres. This is the third thing I would advise. Mm-hmm. Take a look at the Padres. Not a huge market. Now, their advantage is they're the only show in town, so maybe they get what's like Nebraska football. Like, yeah, what are people going to do if they want to watch sports? You're going to go to a Nebraska football game. So I acknowledge this is a much more competitive sports market for your dollar than San Diego is. But San Diego, not a huge market, decided in 2019, the Twins and the Padres were basically equal in attendance largely, right? Like 2.2 million in attendance, kind of similar franchises for the most part. And the Padres, over the last handful of years, have spent an average of $50 million more per year on team payroll. And they haven't come close to winning a World Series over that stretch. So, like, you could argue the way the Twins are doing it has maybe produced equal or more success on the field. But I view it as the Padres telling their fan base, we are in this thing.
Yeah.
And even if we aren't going to win the World Series, we are hell-bent on trying, damn it. And they, starting a few years ago, they were putting, 25,000 fans in that stadium, 40,000 average the last few years for the Padres, because they're telling their fans, hey, we're going for it. So they've ranked third, fourth, second, and third in National League attendance the last 4 years. That's 36,000 in 2022 average, 40,000 and 40,000 the last couple years. I would look at it and say, okay, if we were to invest without assurance, if we were to just be more bold and talk about wanting to win a championship, say it out loud. The Vikings do. The Vikings fired Mike Zimmer and said, we aspire to win a Super Bowl in their press release.
Yep.
That is our goal. So just take a look at the Padres and see.
And the Padres are carried on a streaming service that is provided, or the infrastructure, MLB, and I'm sure they're taking a bath.
For now, in the short term.
Yeah, but their games are available, and you can get them for like $20 a month. And guess what? Got a lot of people who are excited about that.
But here's some, maybe you can do some quick math. I don't know. Like, so the Padres, for instance, they're putting per game, they are putting in their stadium 16,000 additional fans per game.
Yeah.
How much money per head walking into a stadium is that worth? Is it 50? Is it 50? I don't know. Is it $50? Is it 100? But that's times 81, 16,000 fans, correct, times whatever they spend, times 81 games, more revenue. Not because they're winning World Series every year, because they're telling their fans, we want this, damn it, and we are going to try to make this happen for you guys. And then real quick, the last couple things I would say, come up with a direct-to-consumer option to watch games. Hey, games are available. Whatever platform you have, whatever TV, you can get games direct through us, $100 a year, whatever it is, right? And then I would also start preparing with the second-ranked prospect pool. I would start preparing for this winter and for July 31st. What prospects are expendable, and what strategic moves are we looking to make this team better by July 31st of next year's trade deadline? So you're not sitting there 15 games above 500 wondering, whoa, what are we going to do? let's go get this random reliever from the Blue Jays and call it good, and then cut him 3 weeks later, right? So that's what I would do if I were advised.
So this like kind of came to me about midway through your rant, and this is probably a better. No, you're good. This is probably a better topic for another day. But I want the Twins to do all those things, a combination of all the things that us three have just suggested. I don't think any of it is ever going to go over well with the Minnesota sports fans until they sell this team. And I'm not saying that they have any plans to sell this team. The poll ads don't.
That's a different show.
But I think that is the only thing.
Great question.
Like, I think all these things are, by the way, obtainable that we have suggested. I think those are obtainable of things. I don't know if selling the team is obviously a very realistic path for the poll ads. I'm going to guess it's not. But that idea of selling the team, I think, would literally Undertaker hand out of the grave, wake up Minnesota sports fans to be more interested in this team.
You know, if we were to, maybe we could do this on, I think maybe I'll just do it on my Twitter account. If you did an ownership approval rating for all the franchises, you literally just, do you think the Wilfs are doing a good job as owners? Yes or no? Just blanket. Do you think Glenn Taylor is doing a good job with the Timberwolves? You could also put links separately, and they'd maybe have different polls. Craig Leopold Wild, poll ads Twins. I think we can sense and feel the fan base. The Wilfs approval rating would be the highest. It would be like a 90% approval rating, or
Glenn
like
would be
70.
second now, which is hilarious.
Glenn, maybe.
don't know.
I think Glenn's high. I think the perception of the Wild
Leopold
is not
would be higher
great
than
right
Glenn.
now. I don't know about that. I mean,
A lot of people credit, right or wrong, A-Rod and Laurie for like the vibe change.
throw
I
them
would
in,
credit.
too.
I'd credit Anthony Edwards.
Throw them
and
all in.
Gobert.
Throw a separate one.
But is
Laurie
there
and A-Rod.
is there any doubt anecdotally, and we can do this poll, but that the poll ads have the biggest approval rating problem in town?
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
Well, and the
Right?
Yeah, and I think the thing about it where they really dropped the bleeping ball is, part of the thing was, okay, Jim's going to step away a bit, right? And now it's young Joe, young, energetic Joe. He understands the future. He's going to step in. And the first thing, basically, because they don't talk much, was we're going to cut payroll. So like, if there was a transitionary thing where, hey, Joe Pohlad, he's different, right? He's going to be more exciting to watch his teams. That's gone now, which is where Dex's case gains momentum.
Well, dude, and one thing on this, like if everyone acknowledges objectively, as we're advising here, right? Hey, there's an approval rating problem here. The next questions are, do you care? And if you don't, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
If you do, how can we fix it?
Right. Yeah.
Love it.
And I feel like if I put out a headline here of what Minnesota Twins can do to win back fans, I'm going to guess that 80% of the comments are going to say, yeah, sell the team. Like that's going to be or not 80%, but the number one option, the number one response is going to be sell the team. Even, Judd says, and I agree, the vibe around the Wild's probably the lowest it's been in a very long time. Little Wild, a small amount of Wild fans are saying to Craig Leopold, sell the team.
Oh,
like
God,
that's
yeah,
not their issue.
No, they're not.
Glenn was getting that, and then he did, but
he
not
did.
really.
Yeah.
Hocus pocus.
Yeah. Even with the Wild, definitely in probably their lowest spot morale-wise and interest-wise in quite some time. I don't think anyone is blaming Craig Leopold for where they're at right now.
Yeah, they're just down on the team.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's a whole nother. I mean, what if they sweep the Red Sox this weekend and the Tigers get swept, and then they went up at? There's still an open door here for this to end differently, but that's just after yesterday. The Twins were supposed to do their rookie dress up on the flight thing. They canceled that. Some self-awareness there.
I was hoping for so much fun.
Probably a good
like a little league team. Hey, I'm passing out tree tickets despite the fact we suck.
Can you imagine can you just imagine? I'm trying to think of Carlos Correa's foot is literally killing him. they've lost these heartbreaking games, and here comes David Fess in a Scooby-Doo costume on the plane.
And Zebby,
Zebby's dressed like the Rock with the fanny pack.
I'm pretty sure Carlos Correa would
Shaggy?
would murder someone. Not maybe he would be furious to see something like that.
well, he probably. I mean, I'm sure he is pissed off. He's trying to play, and Buxton's trying to play, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, let us know what you think about this episode here in the comment section of the brand new SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. You can also hit us up on Twitter and X. We'll see what happens this weekend. Hey, there, ESPN.com, 63% chance to make the playoffs. Let's see before we go here, let me just see what Baseball Reference has. Is it above 50%? Playoff odds.
It probably is because of how this thing's shaking
ESPN
out.
updates every day for their thing. I'll check ESPN as you.
It's exactly 50.3%.
What's the Tigers?
55.
ESPN has the Twins 58 and the Tigers 49.
Okay, so they're pretty different views from Baseball Reference, and then I don't know what Fangraph says, but yeah, but the fact that the Tigers get 3 against the White Sox at the very end, and the Twins have to play 3 against the Orioles. Now the Twins do get the Marlins games,
right? And the Red Sox,
Marlins are garbage.
If they can't win 2 or 3 in Fenway against a team that is also tail spinning completely, I mean,
yeah, it's wild.
They
need to sweep the Red Sox.
Well,
they literally need to sweep.
I mean, the Red Sox are a complete mess.
They need
the Marlins are too.
They need to go into Baltimore having lost just one of these 6 games.
Yeah, I would say that they need to go 5 for 6.
Yeah.
In the next 2 series, and then
Baltimore's weird too.
Yeah, they've been playing like
that. Well, you know why, boys? Because I've told you for a long time, guys like Adley Rutschman shouldn't catch. Got hurt in June, hasn't been the same since.
The sole reason why Baltimore has scuffled because their catcher can't hit, but he's a very important player.
But he can't hit because he was catching and took a ball off his hand. I've told you forever, move these guys from behind the plate.
No one should catch.
No, Slappy should catch.
No one should catch.
Ryan Jeffers. Vasquez is a dream catcher.
I don't know. Jeffers' bat would be even better if he didn't catch, though.
He's not good enough.
He's got a great bat.
But he's not good enough. Rutschman is an elite player who has been sabotaged by his selfishness of wanting to catch.
The one saving grace is it's possible Baltimore will just be locked into a playoff spot.
I got so many good baseball takes. You guys don't appreciate the baseball takes. I watch MLB Network like 2 hours a day, and I come away with these great Chris Russo-like takes. Go ahead.
The audience appreciates it more than maybe Declan and I do.
I mean, what are they doing with Rutschman? What are they doing? Why is he catching?
All right, we got to go. This is the SKOR North Twins Show here. Click that subscribe button on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel and a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple and Spotify. See what happens this weekend.